Hey everybody, it's your old pal JW. I am back with another comic Obscura episode. Today, we're going to take a break from going through the mystery boxes. To be honest with you, I took so long, it just seemed like it was time for me to go ahead and do single issue videos. Anyways, today we're going to look at the Uncanny Man Frog by Mad Dog Graphics, issue number 1. This is one of the many obscure 1980s black and white titles that I got. As you guys can see, I am indeed a coffee drinker. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna do not really a review. I mean, I'll let you know if I liked it or not, but just kind of give you guys a glimpse, kind of go over this issue and talk about the things happening, because I could do a full read through, but personally, I definitely don't have a voice for radio, so I'd rather not do that. But if you guys do want me to do read throughs, let me know. You can put in the comics, or I'm on Facebook. So you can, okay. The Uncanny Man Frog. I love this cover. As you can see, you got Man Frog here. He's green. The comic is in black and white. He's got the web fingers. You have what looks to be a large, muscular guy dressed either as an Aztec or Incan, Wolfman, and a small guy wearing, with the antennas in the A, I'm assuming ants and, something like that. He's riding a large dog. Okay, we'll go ahead and, I love this cover, by the way. We're going to go ahead. The cover is, by the way, glossy. All right, let's go ahead and turn the page. All right, I'm going to try to keep this center. Now, Man Frog, Nightmare in Elmtown. Story by John Woolley, pencil art by Terry Tidwell. Inks by Dave Hoover. Now, I recognize that name, Dave Hoover. Lettered by Diane Valentino. All right, so this comic is published, it says, bi-monthly by Mad Dog Graphics, a division of Sternad Publishing. Copyright 1987. That was during the black and white explosion. Now, we're going to look at they give us a look at the characters. We got some headshots and who they are. So you have the main character, who is Aristotle. Move my coffee over a little. We have Aristotle, the Uncanny Man Frog. The Wolfman, I gotta stop knocking over the camera. The Wolfman is called Spider Duval. He's actually French. The Astonishing Ant, so I was right about that. And Galley the Great, who is the large, either Incan or Aztec guy. And we got Ears Finston. And pretty much I will tell you that while the comic is called Man Frog, it's sort of a super team, because basically this is a traveling carnival. So Nightmare in Elmtown. So basically it starts off at this duck boot where Wilma Finster, who runs the booth, she's got these little kids. You guys know the duck game, where they have the ducks in water. You grab the duck, flip it over, and you pretty much get a number and then a according prize. So this kid picks number 23. And she says to him, "Well, look at this. You win a laminated picture of Leonard Nimoy, Mr. Spock on Star Trek." Kid's very excited about that. Now, over here in the corner, you can see is a group of thugs. But there's always a group of thugs. So these local kids, they show up and they mess with the kids. They grab his hat and they say things like, "Nice cap, dork. Hey, give me that back. Careful, Junior. We might want to kick your butt. Haha, just for practice." So, your typical typical arrogant jerks. They come in, they go as far as to put their hands on Wilma and start ripping up teddy bears. And she starts yelling, "Hey, Rube." I'm going to be honest with you. I've read this comic, and I'm not quite sure. When she says, "Hey, Rube," I'm assuming it's some sort of code word because that's not the name of any of these characters. Anyways, eating pizza in one of the trailers is the main character, Man Frog, the Astonishing Ant, the Ears guy, Duval, the Wolf guy, and Galley, the large Incan, maybe? Anyways, he goes, "Hey, hear that? It sounds like Wilma." So these guys go out. So it's kind of interesting because it's called Man Frog, but obviously these guys are tight and they all have their certain abilities. So they come in and they say, "And what might you gentlemen be up to?" Okay. Need to get better camera gear so I can do some zoom-ins for you guys. So essentially, Man Frog and his buddies confront the kids and they say, "Hey, you basically need to pay for the damage you've done and, go." But, the kids, the typical response is, "Sure, man, we didn't mean to cause any trouble, you stinking freak." And he tries to punch Man Frog. That wasn't a very good idea. "Hey, ow." So basically, they snag these guys up. They pretty much embarrass him. These two guys are snagged pretty early, and this third one, of course, the leader, pulls a blade. Now, the Astonishing Ant has this like dog or wolf, and he's like trying to hold them back, and the dog's name is Mangler, and he says, better put that thing down, kid. Mangler don't like knives. Last time a guy with a knife came after him, Mangler chewed his hand off." So you see a close-up of the kid's face with the knife, and you see Mangler looking like he want to take the dude's head off. "I'm getting tired of holding him, kid." Long story short, they eventually grab the punks, and they take them to the guy that runs the carnival, who tells them, "That's right, I said let them go." Man Frog's like, "What?" All right. They're forced to let these guys go. And basically, Galley and the Astonishing Ant go back to continue eating their pizza. The guy running the carnival calls Man Frog in and says, "Hey, man, come in here a minute." And he basically explains, he gives him a potato chip, and he kind of explains to him that those three kids are rich towns kids. The sheriff is already on their, towns like this, they're going to protect the locals. So he's just telling them basically, we're going to be leaving soon. Let's just, he's basically trying to keep the peace, but at the same time, kind of letting those guys get away. So Man Frog's not happy. He leaves from the boss's trailer. He talks to Wilma, who's a friend of his, and sees if he can help her put the teddy bears together. Meanwhile, out in the country, and obviously you guys read comics, you know how it goes. These three punks, even though they got away with it, they want revenge. So they start talking about, there's a burlesque tent, and they call her the stripper. Basically, they want to grab her so they can't go until they come and get her. So they're trying to force a confrontation. Given how they were pretty much taken care of pretty fast, it's a pretty stupid idea, but most bad guys are stupid. So they basically show the carnival closing down. You have Wilma and Aristotle talking, and they're leaving in the morning. So they're happy that those punks didn't show up and cause trouble. But little did they know that these idiots have a plan. So right here, and one thing I will admit, I love this art. This is, to me, the term professional quality art, to me, it's point of view. I mean, yes, there's like general, like, for instance, I consider this professional level art. I mean, look at the way she's drawn. I mean, the panels are done very nice. The backgrounds are very good. To me, this is professional quality. And then when I hear people say things like, believe it or not, there's people I know that would literally say this isn't professional quality. But then, look, all right, so they basically, so these guys grab the dancer, the burlesque dancer, and she's good, she's hot, so they got some bad intentions. course, the werewolf guy, super hearing, hears what's going on, and he runs out here to let the guys know. Now, like I said, I find it interesting. I mean, Man Frog's the main character, but it's like he's kind of part of a super team of these carnival performers. So they go to the car. So they see the car, they see the car speeding off. Hanson, listen, we need to borrow your bike, okay? Just for a few minutes. We'll take good care of it. What you guys want? And without even waiting for an answer, they take his motorbike. You guys be careful. I don't like loaning my bike out. So these punks are talking about what they're going to do to the dancer. And, you know, I like how they don't go overboard. You get the idea what these dudes plan to do with her, but it's not, you know, they don't like revert to like cursing in raunchy terms, which I kind of dig. They basically, and I like during this chase scene, the attention to detail and the common sense, because sometimes I feel like panels just get, you know, put on there. There they are. I'm cutting the headlights. He cuts the headlights off, has Galley bring the motorcycle up closer to where he can jump on the roof. They hear him on the roof, and he surprises them, and they go careening into the is that water, trees, grass, you know, basically has them drive off the road. Two guys take off while Aristotle jumps on the back of the guy that started the whole thing. These two guys thinking they're getting away, and then I love this panel right here of Galley with his club showing up with the motorcycle, and he snags these guys. And of course the dancer's angry. All right, you freaking jerk. You got something to show me? Well, I got something to show you. He goes, hold it, Sheila. Not here. You know the law. So she's looking at him like, law? I don't know what you're talking about. So he gives her a wink. You know, the law of the freaks. So essentially, he gets them to play along. So he's got an idea to teach these guys a lesson. So essentially, they leave them, they tie these guys up in the woods, leave them there, and then slowly, after they drive off, you see Aristotle comes back, and he's just sitting there just looking at them, and they're like yelling at him. You know, the basic stuff, you know, my daddy's important, we'll call the sheriff, all that crap. Then, this right here, I like this double page like pinup. Very nice. Now, I noticed Wilma's not in the pinup, which is interesting. The lady that hosts the duck booth. You got the burlesque dancer. You have Duval, Spider Duval, the werewolf, the wolfman. You got Galley, Aristotle, the man frog, Staunchy Ant, and the ears guy, and Mangler. But you don't have Wilma. Well, she's not a performer, so I guess that's part of it. I think she's probably, possibly a love interest for Man Frog. Anyways, eventually they bring this truck and trailer, and they load these guys up and they blindfold them, and he does what's kind of a mock court. I like this scene because they basically said, you know, had the witnesses come forward, the lady at the duck booth, Wilma, and then of course the dancer. And I really dig how they like, it's just so cool. These guys are scared, and he says, and of course, thumbs down. And he goes, the sentence is death. And then he tells them they pour liquid. They don't specifically say it's alcohol or whatever, but they pour liquid into 3 goblets, and he says one of them's poisoned, the other 2 are not. So as soon as this guy goes out, hey Robin, it's him. They got him. That means those freaks got us all. Dude lied to us. And basically all 3 of them are not. 3 of them kind of just get knocked out. And right here you see them just watching the news, and then the Aristotle comes in and says, okay guys, let's go. So he basically brings them. As you can see, what they did is they stripped these 3 guys into their underwear, and they tied them over on the water tower at Elmtown High School, their high school, and you got people making fun of them, so kind of making them the freaks for the day. I love it. It's a nice, simple story, and I liked it. It's light, it's fun. It's more than just Man Frog. I mean, a lot of these characters are pretty interesting. Speaking of which, That was I believe, 19-page main story. And Spider's Web. Now, Spider's Web is just, let me see this. I think this is like a small little backup story that tells the origin of Spider Duval the Wolfman. So he's doing his act, and let me tell you, when I read this, I was like, holy crap. So this is like a live chicken, and in his act, he literally shows him biting the chicken off. I'll be honest with you, it's a bit much for me. They literally, if you guys are squeamish, maybe you shouldn't read this backup story. But this dude, you see the chicken, you know, the old saying, the chicken with his head cut off still moves. And you see it go. It's freaky, man. I was like, damn. And it's funny is Wilma is watching the show with Aristotle, the man frog, and she's like, that's disgusting. And he says something what I think is pretty damn funny. He goes, yeah, but because of him, you know, we get to have fried chicken for dinner a lot, you know? So that's kind of funny. So she kind of asked him about Spider Duval. So so this backup story is basically the origin of Spider Duval. He was born with special abilities. Basically, he had agility far above average, extremely acute hearing too, he said. It's kind of yeah, my English teacher would be tripping out right now. Anyways, he became popular in this town. When the circus came to town, he became a trapeze artist, and he got money, and he's handsome, he's good with women. But then he noticed his beard starts growing in thick, and basically he says, I guess it didn't happen all at once. After a while, though, the hair began growing out over his whole body. I guess a man can only shave so many times a day. So basically, he went from a handsome, talented man to a wolf man, basically. And he became an alcoholic, and he started making mistakes, and he started going from the big circuses to the small ones to their little sideshow. He said, and Aristotle says, he probably won't stay here. He said there are smaller carnivals than this one. So he's kind of like performing, but kind of wants to be low key. Close up of the chicken's head, I find that disturbing, quite frankly. And he says he has to eat Wilma and he has to drink. So basically, it turns out Spider Duval heard them, and he says, and she's questioning his origin. He goes, no, that's really the way it happened. And he's talking to him, and it's funny because he says he says his super hearing was originally when he performed and he was handsome. He with his super hearing while performing, he can hear the people say that Michel Duval. They would say he's really something, a star, but that was a long time ago. And now he hears people like freaking out, like, oh my God, what is that? And the whole time he's talking, as he's walking away, he lets them know basically he's got to pluck the chicken and cook it before it goes bad. And you hear the plip plip of the blood. You see him just dragging the chicken's body over to cook it. And Aristotle says, hey, Spider, I got a frozen pizza in my refrigerator. Why don't you, come over? He goes, what kind of pizza? Pepperoni. He goes, no chicken, huh? Pizza would be delightful. Thank you, mon ami. Merci. You're welcome, pal. You're welcome. And they pretty much end it there. And I'll be honest with you, I think there is a second issue of Man Frog. The first issue is all I have. So I'm hoping to eventually get the second issue if it's out there. I'm going to do some research. I don't really have any background information on this company at all, because as most of you know, during the 80s, the Black White Explosion, there were so many publishers, and it, when the bottom fell out, Eddie Current, that sounds familiar. I think eventually Dark Horse got that. All right, little couple of Keith Laumer's Retief, a couple of ads for Mad Dog Graphics. Retief, I've heard of, and I've also heard of Eddie Current. Eddie Current, I think, goes to Dark Horse. Retief, maybe Dark Horse too. So basically, yeah, that's it for this issue. And you got the Dancer, and you got the Astonishing Ant backup. I like this. It was light. The backup story kind of had some violence in it, but I overall liked it because it's interesting to me. It's called Man Frog, Uncanny Man Frog, but I like the idea of sort of this, I guess you could say almost like a brotherhood of outsiders, and technically you could call them a super team. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Comic Obscura. I'll have some more down the pipeline. Please, any comments if you like what I'm doing, if you enjoy rare, obscure comics, please let me know. Subscribe, like if you want to. Every subscription is appreciated. All right, this is JW out, and I'll see you guys next episode.